Hi there, it's Megan Clark-Young with Macy's Genealogy, and today I have a very quick video showing you two different options for including URL hyperlinks in your source citation. And if you're going to be doing a lot of genealogical citations, I really recommend that you get the book Evidence Explained by Elizabeth Shown Mills. This is a reference book if you need to see how to cite a particular record that's not your typical book or newspaper or journal. Really recommend Evidence Explained. It gives models for all sorts. The subtitle is Citing History Sources from Artifacts to Cyberspace. So it really provides you with all kinds of examples. This should not be used as a plug and play formula, though. You really need to understand what you are looking at, how it might vary or differ from the samples given here, but it is an invaluable source. The other book is Mastering Genealogical Documentation by Thomas W. Jones. This is a textbook that teaches how to write citations, or actually they say how to craft citations, because you do have a lot of flexibility and there's not always a right or wrong way to do it. There are formats that need to be followed and there are certain things that must be done in a certain way, but outside of those, you do have a lot of flexibility. Okay, let me get my screen shared here. So this came from a presentation that I did, and it is called Documenting Your Sources, the Key to Credible Genealogy. And in this section, I discussed the options for inserting a URL into your citation. You can copy the whole URL and paste that right into your citation, or you can do what's called a shortened hyperlink with waypoints. To do the full URL, like shown here, you can see the first example is from a family search URL. The second is from an ancestry.com URL. The benefit to doing this is it is going to take you to the specific image. The other benefit to the family search URLs, when you see the letters ARK, that stands for Archival Resource Key. That means that it's a persistent URL. This should not change. If you use this URL in 20 years and they've redesigned the website and they've changed all this, URL should still take you to that exact document that you're trying to view. The Ancestry URLs don't have that archival resource key, so there's not the same guarantee. That's another benefit of why I like the shortened URL, because it has the waypoints. Even if the URL changes, you're still going to have enough information to access that collection and quickly find the image that you're looking for. As you can see, the shortened URLs are much cleaner looking. They look much nicer. A personal reason that I like them, I'm a Lineage Society chair and I help edit a publication. So if we get printed copies of documents with citations on them, having the second option really is a shortcut, and I have another video I'll post a link to how you can create shortcuts for search engines in Google Chrome, and all you have to do is type this film number or this collection number.
Okay, so both Evidence Explained and Mastering Genealogical Documentation tell us that either URL format is acceptable. So one isn't right and one isn't wrong. But let's take a look at both options and decide which makes the most sense for you. Let's take a look at what a footnote would look like for each of the options Evidence Explained and decide which may Mastering Genealogical Documentation. Using the first family search example with the full URL, your footnote would look like this. And with the shortened URL, your footnote would look like this. The footnote with the Ancestry full URL would look like this. And the shortened URL would look like this. To recap, the benefits of the first option are that the full URL will take you directly to the image of the document. But that is really only helpful if you know it's a persistent URL, or if you know your document will be only used digitally, where someone can click on that hyperlink rather than trying to type in a whole string of numbers, letters, or characters. The benefits of the shortened URL are that it looks cleaner, it usually takes up less space, which may be important if you're publishing, and it provides the necessary details that would make the record simple to find online. A URL may change, but it's unlikely that Family Search or Ancestry will change their film or collection numbers. The second option will work for any digital collection that has nested folders. If you're citing a website or a blog post, including the full URL in your citation may be the only option. If you are including the full URL, double check at the end of it to see if it contains a question mark followed by a string of letters and numbers or characters. Generally, you can delete everything following that question mark. Always double check to make sure that your URL link works, but that may help to shorten and clean up the citation a little bit. Also, be sure to include the date that you accessed the image online. That way, if the URL does change, you can always use a tool like the Wayback Machine and find the document that you looked at. So, in my opinion, the benefits of the shortened URL with waypoints outweigh using the full URL. But being able to get directly to the image is very helpful, especially in your own research notes or if you're planning to share your document digitally. So I'm going to show you a little trick here to include both the full URL and the shortened URL in your citation without having it look messy. Now I like my footnotes to look uniform, so I apply a style to make sure everything is the same size, the same font, the same color, and nothing is underlined. But what you can do is, sorry, I'm having trouble with my mouse here. So if I highlight Family Search, right click and go down to link, I've already copied the full URL to this image. Hit Control V to paste, OK to enter. So now it is hyperlinked to the full URL. Now, again, I don't like that look, so I'm just going to highlight it, switch it to my automatic font color, remove the underline, and now this is hyperlinked. I could click Control and follow that link. That will take me directly to the image, but I still have the shortened URL. And down here, even a better example of the shortened URL for Ancestry.com with the waypoints. I've already gone ahead and added the hyperlink to Ancestry for the exact image. So the full URL is there. So that's a way that you can have both included in your document and still have it look very clean and uniform. You may notice that my first example here is not the traditional layered citation. This is the format that the NGSQ uses. So I should mention too, if you are planning to publish, make sure you contact the editor, find out how they want the footnotes to look, how they prefer the citation. They may want the full URL, they may want the shortened URL, so always double check with their preferred format. You would not find this first example as a model in Evidence Explained. So the second option for the layered citation is the more traditional option. So double check with the publisher and the editor how they would prefer it.
I hope that gave you some additional information for some best practices to include a URL in your footnote for your genealogy writing. If you have any other ideas or ways that you write your footnotes, I'd love for you to drop a line in the comment below. And if you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you would like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much and happy researching.